Hey everyone. Thank you for joining me today for a short reading from my forthcoming collection of poems, The Goats Have Taken Over the Barracks. This collection is forthcoming in March of 2021 through Finishing Line Press, but it's currently in its presale period. So please visit www.finishinglinepress.com and order your copy. The poem I'm going to read today is a special poem to me. It's one I've carried with me in one form or another for half my life. Though its proper title is Reverence, I've always thought of this poem as the Body Farm poem. And it combines two experiences. A time when I was an undergraduate and I witnessed the handling of a body of a deceased homeless man, and the trip I took to visit the University of Tennessee Knoxville Forensics Labs, popularly known as the Body Farm. An awareness of mortality and the fleetingness of experience has always been central to my work, and in a lot of ways this piece served as an anchor for my craft as I developed as an author. At the Body Farm, I was absolutely fascinated by the segment of the trip when we were allowed to examine a body laid out on a table that had been deceased for almost a year. I've been quite fortunate in my life, and at that point especially, I'd experienced very few personal losses, so I found that experience to be particularly moving. Now, at the end of 2020, I find the themes of this piece to be especially relevant. I've always felt this piece was meant to be a memorial for all of the losses that go unrecognized. And in a year mired in so much loss, I do think that it's more crucial now than ever to recognize the scope of just what's been taken from us in so short a time. So, without further delay, my poem, Reverence. The underpass pylons bar me from the ambulance as paramedics hoist the covered corpse onto a stretcher, imprison me in the want to touch the dead by depriving me with distance. At the morgue, he will be split pelvis to sternum, abdomen unfurled like moth wings, organs removed, labeled, weighed, recorded a diagnostic identity in place of a name. For the otherwise known as A. John Doe, exposure victim, middle-aged male, underweight. The mortician will orate an autopsy walkthrough for a posterity that doesn't exist. Calm, dignified, dead. Just like the voice of the professor who performed my tour of the Body Farm when I was 17. A monotone monologue described a year of extensive examination and documentation. I had never seen a corpse before. I was braced for awe, not formaldehyde, nor for rows of pins, silver, with white labels, too stiff to flutter in recirculation drafts, nor for breasts split open and peeled back from a chest split open and peeled back to expose the rib cage, sawed open and spread like bay doors, as if to allow lungs to breathe. Layer upon layer of deep exposure, blood in vials, not veins. Emaciation that raised tendons into tent wire to house her face, a shadow of a face in shadows. Studied anonymity, scalpel slits under the eye sockets and hairline, sinus cavities and tooth sockets open allow dust, microbe, and penlight floods. A little box next to a pan holds her brain, her teeth sealed in numbered plastic bags, slides of skin, tissue, hair samples. Same for the fingernails, the toenails, like unopened jigsaws of pure blue skies. Too many pieces missing. Those present, too similar. No trick of matching edges could reassemble the real picture. And so the tour ended in questions to our group about who we were, getting to know us around the slab like dinner around a Jane Doe centerpiece. The life taken out of death. Height, weight, age, the type of shoes she wore when found. Once her identity became statistic, even if her liver said she was a drinker, lungs a smoker, No one would ever know or ask her favorite blend, or why she drank so fast, lived, died so fast. While the other students reached out in stutters to touch her kidneys, spleen, gallbladder, and register the rubbery texture of the walls that divide us internally. I tried to wrap the skin back over her stomach, to reattach her retinas, and imagine through her eyes a woman who watched lazy Tennessee breezes blow Rorschachs of mist above the waters and trudged through browning leaves, who walked the night riverbank to love the brush of grass blades on the bulbs of her ankles. Her name could have been Adele, Shelley, or maybe it really was Jane. Perhaps the sliver of white scar streaking her temple came from a branch swipe while trotting through the woods with the lover she did her best drinking with. They plopped to dirt between green reeds and tossed smoldering filters into the current's ripple trickling over the rocks as he brushed the backs of her hands with her fingertips. There must have been a last stroke of that lover's touch, calloused thumbs that slipped over pebbled areolas, the splash of their breaths in clouds condensing between their parting lips. Warmth, wet, glow of skin just touched. They'd found her lying, washed up, still gazing at a frozen moon. With the tips of their forked index and middle finger, they drew her eyes shut. They always do. A sign of respect that cutting off, close the mouth, seal the body from the spirit. Let it drift in and out of the ether at will, without temptation. Maybe I will be sewn up at my morgue. Kidneys, stomach, spleen returned, ready for a new existence without mind or soul. My remains might be shipped to that university. Professors will lay me out in a field to decompose. No one will know who I was or what I did, but my eyes will be reopened to simulate proper conditions. I will build a new identity of maggot bites, rot patterns, and the leaching of bone marrow. Kidneys kissed by bits of soil, dirt blown between my lips, back on the cold packed dirt. Frost will settle in the folds of my clothes, half covered by next winter's fallen leaves and wind-broken branches. I will gape up at cold December stars and watch a woman's inverse shadow drift towards me from a nebula beyond Orion. Strands of hair will blow from my shriveled scalp, tangle in withered dandelion stems, a smell of frost and clover. Okay, so I want to thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the piece, and I do hope that you will visit www.finishinglinepress.com and order a copy of The Goats Have Taken Over the Barracks. I hope you have a wonderful day and stay safe.